The 2021 Yamaha MT-07. Yamaha beefs up its MT-07 ahead of 2021 with a handful of improvements and updates on the menu. This marks the first major update for the Master of Torque since it was renamed from the FC tag it carried for so long in the US market. Engine tuning, design updates, safety equipment adjustments, and ergonomic tweaks all made it onto this newest iteration of the hyper-naked MT-07. 2021 Yamaha MT-07 design. The new MT-07 joins its big brother, the 2021 MT-09, in the third generation of MT aesthetics, and the changes start right out of the gate with a new headlight housing, eliminates the large Cyclops lens, with a small LED projector. Like its predecessor, the new MT-07 carries ram air ducts on either side of the fuel tank, but now they are molded into the tank like they grew there rather than looking like something that was clapped on as an afterthought. New textured knee pads ride behind the ducts to give you some traction for your knees. Down below, the exhaust headers now come with a heat shield, something that was definitely lacking with the previous generation. The turn signals, front and rear, were likewise modernized with a compact shape and LEDs that'll ensure your visibility to the surrounding traffic, even in daylight and under harsh artificial lighting. The LED taillight was redesigned as well, and that wraps up the styling changes for the 2021 model year. Among the things that didn't change are the short risers and slight pullback in the new tapered handlebar that's a whopping 32 mm wider and 12 meters taller than before. This defines a somewhat relaxed rider's triangle that will let you push off a bit for a more upright riding position. This gives your neck, wrists, and shoulders a break since you can push off a bit, but there's still plenty of room to tuck in for speed or to throw around a little English in the corners. Also new for this year is the multi-function negative LCD display that replaces the old instrumentation. Designed specifically for the MT-07 cockpit, the black background display has white red outs and red bars for RPM over 10K. A narrow waist meets a pared-down saddle to give you a straight shot from hip to ground. The saddle rides at 31.7 inches off the deck, so that skinny waist will be most welcome by riders with shorter inseams as it will increase confidence when you put your feet down. 2021 Yamaha MT-07 chassis. A very abbreviated, steel tubing front frame on the MT-07 bolts directly to the engine that serves as a stressed member, making the connection to the rear frame section and keeping weight low at 406 pounds soaking wet. The steering head sets a rake angle of 24.5 degrees with a short, 3.5 inches of trail to give the MT some decidedly aggressive cornering behavior, as it's hard to find numbers much shorter than that in either metric, except maybe on bona fide race bikes. This bodes well for the overall fun factor. Cast aluminum 17-inch wheels roll in a 10-spoke pattern and are designed to minimize weight, a move that reduces inertia in the suspension system and allows the suspension to be more supple and responsive. As for the suspension itself, the front end floats on right way up KYB forks with fixed values, but out back the rear shock rocks adjustable rebound and preload to give you some control over your ride. Both ends turn in 5.1 inches of travel, which lands toward the top of the range for street bikes and should be ample for your favorite urban jungle. The brakes were buffed up a bit ahead of 2021 with 4-piston calipers that bite dual front discs that were increased in diameter to 298 mm opposite a 245 mm disc out back with ABS all around. 2021 Yamaha MT-07 drivetrain. Yamaha updated its twin-cylinder mill with integrated 2-in-1 headers and muffler, an optimized fuel injection system, and tweaks to the engine control unit to improve and broaden the power band on the MT-07. An 80 mm bore and short 68.6 mm bore gives it a displacement of 689 cc and moderately warm, 11.5:1 compression ratio with liquid cooling to deal with the waste heat. The 4 poppet heads were reworked with new valve seats that resist wear and abrasion better. This is a CP2 engine, which means it boasts Yamaha's crossplane concept crankshaft that carries its throws with a 270-degree offset and delivers a loping burble at idle and tractable power at the top end. With that being said, the overall power numbers remain the same as the previous generation with 74 ponies and 50 pounds of grunt on tap. The transmission saw some improvements as well, with new angles cut on the dog sliders to aid in engagement, and the gear ratios in the 6-speed gearbox are set to minimize the need to shift in low to mid-range operation. Overall, at the top end and in top gear, you can expect to get up to 133 miles per hour out of the new MT-07, though individual results may vary. 2021 Yamaha MT-07 price. Whether you pick the Storm Fluo, Matte Raven Black, or Team Yamaha Blue paint package, you'll pay the same $7,699 for this next-gen MT-07. 2021 Yamaha MT-07 competitors. As a member of the Big Four, the main Japanese motorcycle manufacturers, Yamaha has no shortage of competition, especially when we consider the European market. It's a game of inches as the major marques seek an edge in street performance, and with that in mind, I grabbed Kawasaki's Supernaked Z650 to see how it stacks up against the new MT-07. Kawasaki Z650. Looks-wise, these two rides are the epitome of the naked street fighter genre, with a dearth of bodywork, so the powerplant is well visible and there is little left to the imagination under the hood, as it were. Stocky and compact, the Kawi strikes a similar figure, and the differences in aesthetics come down mainly to brand influence. The Z650 takes a hit in the suspension, with adjustable rear preload as the only variable to leave Yamaha with a clear advantage, however slight. A parallel twin mill delivers the goods with 48.5 pound-feet of torque on tap to once again cede a slim advantage to Yamaha. I guess it's a point in Kawasaki's favor that it offers its Z650 in a non-ABS variant. Some racer or trickster might like that, but I think it's worth the $500 extra for that safety net. The non-ABS Z650 rolls for $7,249, while the ABS version fetches $7,749, so if you were counting on price to be the tiebreaker, you'll have to use some other metric. Read our full review of the Kawasaki Z650. He said, "Seems like a solid ride, though I can't help but notice the lack of ride control electronics. To be fair, I guess it was a trade-off to keep the sticker shock down, and not an uncommon one at that, but there's definitely some room for improvement as electronic systems become more readily available and inexpensive. The MT line has been around for a minute, and looks to be here for the foreseeable future, so maybe we will see some fandanglery in the future." She said. My wife and fellow motorcycle rider, Alan Hinton, says, "The updates on the MT-07 for 2021 gives us better low RPM throttle response that was a bit jinky in the previous gen, and the new cut angles on the dog gears in the transmission improves shifting that was a bit clunky before. Among the whole host of aesthetic improvements, I find the new instrument display probably my favorite. The black background and white readout is sharp, and I find it more legible under a wider range of light conditions." 2021 Yamaha MT-07 specifications.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.